We have 5-star cars, we have 5-star roads. What we do not yet have is the 5-star driver. Do you want to contribute to the goal of developing the 5-star driver? Then why not watch this video? Our goals for driver training are laid out in the so-called GDE matrix, which was developed on the basis of accident research. Learning how to maneuver a vehicle is a learning goal on the lowest level. But have you ever thought about how many serious crashes were caused simply by a lack of vehicle maneuvering skills? According to statistics, surprisingly few. Learning how to master a wide range of traffic situations is the learning goal on the second level. These two levels are traditionally trained in European driving schools, and tested too. But does a lack of skills on these two levels really explain the unacceptably high number of novice driver crashes? Learning how to detect trip-related risks and how to cope with them must form a third level of learning goals, because a significant proportion of crashes are caused by influences such as unsound driving motives, for instance sensation-seeking under group pressure, or alcohol, stress, fatigue, lack of attention, and so on. Learning goals on the fourth level focus on the entire person, on his or her values, attitudes, lifestyle, etc. A risk-seeking person is more likely to crash than a responsible person. And finally, lots of crashes are caused by overconfidence in one's abilities. Therefore, it is seen as a must in driver training to encourage the right self-evaluation skills on each of the 4 levels of the GDE matrix. Because what you think about yourself determines your driving style. This is our definition of a 5-star driver. Do you want to see more of these safe drivers on our roads? Then continue watching this video. Now the question is, how can we achieve safer novice drivers? How can we optimize our teaching methods? What is the present situation on European roads? Young novice drivers primarily get killed in single vehicle crashes, in the easiest traffic situations. And when? At the weekend after midnight. What's different on weekend nights? The vehicle? The roads? It's only the driver who is really different. He or she is tired, under group pressure with his friends, distracted, in a showing-off mood, inattentive, and so on. Drivers involved in crashes tend to lack a sense of responsibility for their own decisions, rather than a lack of driving skills. How can we explain this phenomenon? During traditional driver training, the responsibility for each driver decision in the car shifts from the trainer to the learner. It shifts gradually during the learning period as the driving test gets nearer. At the time of the driving test, the candidate should be able to make all driver decisions on his or her own. The appropriate choice of speed, the right safety margins, the optimal steering position, and many more. But why do so many crashes happen after passing the driving test? Could it be a lack of responsibility rather than a lack of skill that leads some new drivers to drive as fast as they want, without sufficient safety margins, and without due care and attention? Isn't it down to poor attitude? What can we improve in driver training to avoid this low sense of responsibility after the driving test? The answer we are offering in the EU Hermes project is coaching. Coaching is a customer active learning style. It's the learner who is responsible for making decisions and for taking the learning process into his own hands. The learner is the one who defines his learning goals as much as possible. That makes him feel more responsible for what he does. And this sense of responsibility can continue increasing even after the test. Think about yourself. Aren't you more convinced about the things you developed yourself? Now you, the driving teacher, can ask yourself, with every action you take, if it serves to increase or decrease the sense of responsibility of your learner driver. What exactly is coaching? It's a different style of active learning, and it implies a different kind of relationship between the learner and the teacher. The coach supports the learner in his learning, for example by asking, not telling, with an emphasis on learning, not teaching. In coaching, you get the knowledge out of the learner rather than putting it in. The coach motivates the learner to assess himself. Coaching raises self-awareness and self-responsibility. Finally, the learner becomes his or her own teacher. Coaching is absolutely natural. How much do you already use it in your driving lessons?
You would be so kind. Okay, so please.
Let's see how people experience the difference between coaching and instructing in an example which does not have anything to do with driver training.
Please, I tell you what I want you to do. So I want you to instruct him on how to get up, but you may only focus on one body movement at a time, okay?
Okay, right. I want you to raise your arm, your right arm, okay? And now raise your leg, your right leg, okay? Put your heel on the ground, bend your knee, okay? Turn around. Okay, I think it doesn't work, okay, but I won't give up. Okay, turn back.
You can try it out. In most cases, it simply does not work, because everybody has his or her own way to get up. Similarly, everybody has his or her own way of learning. Pure instructions may actually disturb the learning process instead of supporting it. Now you can easily imagine how you would feel in both of these roles.
How was that? What did you feel?
Well, it's inconvenient, it's sort of unnatural, really, and it did not work.
Okay.
Now, let's see how coaching would work for this specific exercise. The coach simply asks questions.
So my first question is, what would you like to do?
Stand up.
Okay. What would be the first step you need to do to get up?
I would raise my upper body.
Would you like to try it?
Yes.
Okay. How successful was this first step for you?
Very successful.
What could be a next step?
I would do something with my hands.
Which position would exactly be the best for your hands?
I think both hands on the ground behind my body.
What could be a next step?
I would cross my legs, bend my knees and cross my legs.
Okay, try it. What would you like to do next?
Asking, not telling. It's as simple as it sounds. The learner becomes his own teacher.
Try it. Okay, how was that for you? What did you feel?
I think it was supporting in a way, but in the end it was me who did it and I achieved it. And finally I became more aware of my movements.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
What was the difference in your view? Wasn't it that just asking open questions raises self-awareness and self-responsibility for the learning process? And isn't this exactly what we want to achieve in driver training? Awareness and responsibility. Finally, let's see, what are open questions? They're questions which begin with words such as what, which, why, when, how. How can we apply these principles in driver training? Please go on to the next chapters.
I will show you the right steering.
A coaching style is perfect for acquiring new skills and behavioral habits. Let's go for an example. You can either instruct the perfect steering position,
Is this with the thumbs up, hands on the...
or you can let your learner work out the perfect steering position on his own. Let him simply drive, wait for the best moment, and then just ask.
Okay, you have taken this position, this steering position.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why and what are the advantages of that?
Well, it was my first reaction.
Now it is the learner's own discovery. The advantage for you as the driving instructor is that whenever necessary, you can remind the learner of the steering position that he has discovered. The learner is more convinced about what he has discovered than what somebody has told him to do.
Take the steering wheel in this position.
Another question is, do you want your learner only to pass the driving test, or do you want him to become a safe driver? Let's look at another example. How can we use a coaching style to combine applying basic traffic rules with vitally important traffic safety issues? How can we nurture a responsible driver?
Okay, in the next couple of minutes let us concentrate on the right behavior at the stop signs and the give way signs, and let's see who's faster in detecting them, you or me, okay?
Okay.
And at each sign you show me the right way to act, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, then we can start. Was everything okay?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Let's go back to the driving school now, but we're really in a hurry now. I get really in trouble when I get too late. Maybe I should drive. No, you drive, but hurry up, okay?
Okay.
Hurry up and let's go. Come on. Let's go. Now I had to brake for you, right? Let's go over there and let's talk about that, okay? Okay, why did you not stop at the stop sign?
Well, you said to hurry up, right? So I thought.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, let's talk about what happened then, okay? When could something like that happen when you're driving with your friends? How is that with responsibility, for example?
Well, I could imagine it with if there's a party and I would drive home afterwards and there would be so many friends, then I could imagine that they could persuade me to a race or something.
Okay, yeah, so...
In a good coaching atmosphere, the learner can find out on his own about the dangerous influences in group situations, which typically cause so many crashes. All you need is an equal and trusting relationship and the right questions. Some instructors try to adopt a coaching style in driver training, but then they find hundreds of reasons to go back to pure teaching. But there's a good reason to stick with coaching. By increasing the new driver's sense of responsibility, you may save a life. Coaching means asking open questions, not telling. You as a driving instructor can easily transform instructions into open questions. Make your own discoveries. You can either instruct...
There is something dangerous ahead. So this traffic sign means that there is a dangerous left bend ahead.
Or you can ask open questions, beginning with what, when, how, and so on.
Okay, so what does this traffic sign mean?
Dangerous left bend.
Dangerous left. And what does it tell us? What kind of risks do we have to consider here?
The speed might be too high.
Yes.
Especially when slippery.
And slippery?
I have to
Anything
pay
else?
very close attention to the road and not be fiddling with the radio or, I don't know, texting with my phone.
Yes.
Or you shouldn't talk to your friends too much.
Okay.
Yeah, because the oncoming traffic, might just be too fast and get on your side of the road.
On the other side? Yes. Is there anything else that we have to think about?
Judge for yourself. Which method, asking or telling, increases self-awareness and one's sense of responsibility more? Perhaps you already have experience with this kind of active learning. But now, let's see a specific coaching scenario for a theory lesson.
Okay, how important is it for you to become a safe driver? Right? For the next couple of minutes, let's do an exercise for traffic safety in 4 steps. Philip, can I ask you a few personal questions?
Sure.
Yes. And when I ask Philip the questions, please also try to find your own personal answers to that, okay? Okay, Philip, what is your favorite leisure activity?
Sports and hanging out with friends.
Okay, and what is the first name of your best friend?
That would be Rani.
Okay, and how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have younger siblings, so 1 sister and 1 brother.
Okay, and why do you want to make a driving license?
Well, to be more independent, to be able to drive to places with my friends and so on.
Okay, and who do you live with?
I live with my parents, still,
Okay.
and my younger siblings.
Okay, and what do you think you will be doing in 5 years' time from now?
Well, I hope to get a good education, maybe look for a job, or to begin the master's degree.
Okay. Well, has everybody got his or her own answers to these questions? Yes? Good, then let's go to step 2. If a car hits something like a tree, precisely what kind of damage would happen to the car?
Well, the damage would be relative to the speed.
Yes, well, let's say an accident at about 50 kilometers an hour.
Okay, the car would crumple and the airbags would deploy.
Yes, and where would the car crumple?
Well, at the front.
At the front. And what is at the front of the car?
The engine.
Okay, and which way would the engine move?
Backwards.
Yeah, and what is behind the engine?
I suppose me, really.
Yes, and which direction would you move during an accident?
Forwards.
Forwards, right? Okay, so what kind of injuries do you think you would sustain from this accident?
Broken legs.
Right.
Broken legs.
Anything else?
Possibly back and head.
Okay, so what length of time do you think these injuries would take?
Well, I suppose a lifetime.
Okay, now let's go to step 3. Let's see what an impact a serious injury has, not just on you, but also on those around you. Right? For example, what impact would it have on your favorite spare time activity?
Sport. I think that would be more difficult.
Right. And what impact would it have on your best friend?
Oh, Rani? I think he'd miss me.
Okay. Now let's all think about it. What effect would a serious injury have on your activities in the next 5 years?
No dancing anymore.
No dancing anymore?
Or any sport.
What do you feel is most important for such an exercise? We feel this exercise is only worthwhile when you have already set up a positive and equal relationship with your learners. What kind of relationship can you see here?
Okay, so what could you do to avoid all of this? Any ideas?
Well, just really be responsible.
Your learners can find their own answers, and these findings will be their own. Just by asking the right questions can raise self-awareness and foster responsibility. By asking the right questions, you may well save a life.
Speed up, a little bit faster. Brake, next time accelerate, a little bit faster.
Each action of an instructor can be classified as to whether it increases or decreases the sense of responsibility of the learner drivers. Pure skills training may result in overconfidence, which is in itself a major cause for crashes. But in a track training context, there are many ways to increase rather than decrease one's sense of responsibility.
For your own safety, when should the next car go?
I'd say when the track is clear.
So when the car in front of you has left, the next car can start. I will use the walkie-talkie only if necessary. And let's concentrate, as we said, concentrate on the steering. What is the steering doing? Feel what the steering is doing when you accelerate the speed. So then we go to the cars and get in the car and start driving around. Okay. Okay, for the last exercise for today, we want to do something completely different. Okay, it will be a secret task, but I need a driver for this.
One volunteer is the driver. His secret task is just to drive at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour and to immediately brake as soon as someone in the car says the word sunshade. 3 volunteers are designated as passengers. Their secret task is to read out loud and at the same time their list, which contains many words similar to the keyword for the driver, which is sunshade. The passengers should check at which word their driver performs the emergency braking. Each list has different words. Can you imagine the situation in the car? Will the driver brake?
Rainworm, rain shower,
Sunscreen, midsummer, sun allergy, summer sun, sunbathe, sunshade, sunburn, sun allergy, summer sun, sunbathe, sunshade, sunshine, sunscreen, midsummer, sunburn, sun allergy, summer sun, sunbathe, sunshade, sunshine, sunscreen, midsummer, sun allergy, summer sun.
Usually there's no braking at all, or the driver brakes at the wrong word. With which coaching questions can we now work out what our learners have experienced and how they can benefit from this exercise in their future driving careers?
Tell me everything that happened. What happened in the car?
Well, it was a bit confusing.
Confusing?
But
Yeah, but isn't it the same when driving with friends? I know how they can distract me.
It was really, I think it was really
Distraction is one of the major causes of accidents. Let your learners experience, let them discuss, let them make their own discoveries. We do not simply need skilled drivers, we need responsible drivers, the 5-star driver. And we need coaches who do not only ask questions but also offer an equal relationship. Coaching is not as easy as it looks in this film. It needs training, practice, and experience. What is the most important safety tool in the car? The driver.